So now we're going to take this from one Sicilian city to one nation to a planetary approach. International health regulations. That means unelected governance. That means the decisions will not be in Sacramento, they'll be made in Stockholm and Brussels. Okay, let's talk about it. 1920, League of Nations creates a new organization which in 1945 was renamed, let's hit the thing, that's the World Health Organization. September 4th, 2016, Barack Obama, he signed a document known as Advancing the Global Health Security Agenda to achieve a world, it's an EO, executive order, world safe and secure from infectious disease. And directive number 2 says that there will be a policy group that will decide who must be quarantined and who must be inoculated in what they call a global emergency. And this group sitting on this policy is the group of 7, the G8, then 7, the G20, the African Union, the HWO, Interpol, the EU, the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, the Economic Community of West African Nations, and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. And all of these would be the relevant partners. National Strategy for Countering Biological Threats, and they're signed by the President of the United States. We now have something called international health regulations. They're not county regulations. They're not state regulations. They're not federal regulations. They're international health regulations. And at the 13th conference held recently of the International Health Regulations Organization, which involves 196 states, a public health emergency of international concern, that concept, the PHEIC, Public Health Emergency of International Concern, was created. And that means that these guys can declare a public health emergency. I'm not saying we won't have such a thing. I'm not saying it will not be required. I'm not saying we will not be threatened by an incredible virus that'll make the world end with a whimper and not a bang. I'm not saying any of that. I'm telling you what is possible and what can be used and misused. And under Article 12, this emergency can be declared under the IHR, the International Health Regulations, and they can create emergency committees, transnational emergency committees. And under Annex 6 and 7, Annex 6 and 7 of the Emergency Health Regulations, International Health Regulations, there will be no compulsory vaccination, but you will not be able to travel outside your house without proof of vaccination. So they can't force you to take a vaccination, but you will not be able to travel without the certificate of vaccination. In a further decision, it says that they have the ability to restrain certain groups of people that, don't laugh, you'll be not laughing real soon, who they think are a special threat to international health order. Here they are under 5.2.6, the urban, poor, and migrant populations, remote, difficult to reach, and nomadic populations, persons living in areas of civil conflict or insecurity. populations resisting vaccination, the guy who laughed, and anti-vaccine groups, including affluent communities. How you doing down there in Palo Alto? And religious and fundamentalist groups. Undocumented urban settlers and squatters. You should see what I had to go through in San Francisco to get to the restaurant. Let's see who created this list. Go up to the top. World Health Organization. And in May 24th of either last year or something, in Geneva, the WHO, in Resolution 67, supporting what they would and would not find credible. Let's go to the next one. Resolution 67. There is no valid scientific evidence that childhood vaccination leads to autism spectrum disorders. Says on my script. What does it say on the script? Last line.
The next step, unknown.
So, 9,000 years of public health. The species jump from individual health to public health, community health. The use of medical nomenclature in pseudoscience to advance corporate interests and inflict political damage upon political enemies. Maybe not in California, but in Russia, Soviet Russia, North Korea, China. That's why they use terms like re-education camps, Nazi Germany, all these places. And now you're under unelected governance. So what does all this mean and where is it all going? I can't tell you the medical appropriateness of your situation. I can't even speculate. I won't answer your questions. I'll refer to Ken or any of the other 9 doctors here. But what I will tell you, that if we look at ancient, near-term, recent history, and the history now being written for us, we can see there is reason to be concerned, and we should continue to challenge and to ask for evidence, and to not be silenced by people who have big degrees, big money, and big reports, like they did in eugenics, like they did with the Carnegie Institution, the Rockefeller Foundation, like they have done in all these cases to stifle dissent and increase profits. Thank you very much.